Hey Internet, it's RJ. Welcome back. Thanks for tuning into the show today. In today's episode, we are going to talk about, once again, the famous or infamous, depending how you look at it, Amex Platinum Card. Better yet, I had to make a keep or cancel decision, but even if you've seen formats like this, stick around because I'm going to talk about a few different things that I don't think most people focus on when it comes to the most polarizing card in the game. So if that sounds interesting to you, go ahead, press the subscribe button, and let's get to work. I'm not even going to make you wait. I ended up canceling the card after 2 years of ownership, and so I'm going to refresh you with the card. We'll cover it, and then I'm going to spend the majority of the time talking about 4 different things. Number 1 is kind of the image of American Express and the Platinum Card that they have and the effect that it has. We'll talk about the target demographic. We'll talk about the business model, and then we'll talk about what this means going forward for American Express and what options we have if you choose to go this route. So let's start off with the card itself. The Platinum Card. Now, if you remember, about a year ago, they hiked the fee from $550 to $695, and this is what you get for your $695. Multipliers here, 5x on flights booked directly with airlines or through Amex Travel, 5x on hotels booked via Amex Travel. Now the credits, this is what got the biggest facelift, so we have some legacies here. We have the $200 Uber Cash credit, $15 a month. Of course, it does not roll over. We have $100 Saks Fifth Avenue credit, $50 twice a year, $200 airline incidental credit, that's for like check bags and things like that, $179 clear credit, that's new, and everything after this is new, $300 Equinox gym credit, $240 digital entertainment credit, that's for like for Audible, and a few other things like Sirius XM. $200 hotel collection credit, $155 Walmart Plus credit, and the global entry is a legacy credit. Now the benefits here also largely unchanged. You still have your Hilton and Marriott Gold, Delta Sky Club when flying Delta, Centurion Lounges, Priority Pass, Eats Pass membership's kind of a temporary type deal, I think, and then Platinum Concierge, of course. So I'll leave that up on screen for a little bit, but that is the card and everything you get. So basically when they hiked the annual fee, they added some more credits or coupons as they're affectionately known as, and if you go to Amex's site, they'll happily tell you that they now provide you over $1,400 in credits or in value. Now, of course, value is kind of up to us to determine. Now, I have a lot of videos about these individual credits, and I will link them down below. But, they're not necessarily bad. You can get value out of them. The thing here to make sure is just, do you want to use it, right? Every credit card comes down to like, hey, I have to use this. But, just make sure you're not forcing yourself to use all of them. But what exactly led me to cancel the card? Because believe it or not, there was a time when I really, really wanted this card because at the time it was kind of the king of travel cards, and that's where we get into the parts that I don't think a lot of people focus on. So when it comes to American Express, specifically the Platinum Card, there is nothing more polarizing in our little corner of YouTube than this product. For example, no one's ever come up to me and said, Bank of America is so elitist. You have to have $100K in capital with them to get the best credit card benefits. Never happened. Not a single person. And you could think that would be a thing that people might get upset about. Hasn't happened. But this card gets people really upset. We love to love it. We love to hate it. Maybe we hate that. We love it. I don't know which one. But that's what we're going to explore today. So the first one is that American Express image, especially with the Platinum Card. So if you've ever seen the movie Up in the Air, it's a really good movie. I don't know why, but I like it a lot, actually. But it's George Clooney flies around. He's like a consultant, but he really goes around firing people for other companies. And he's always portrayed as being in first class or business class on the flights. They never have to wear noise-canceling headphones. You can just have a conversation. He's in the lounges. They're always spacious and open and look nice. There's other attractive people there. It's crazy. And that's kind of, what they portray, and that's kind of what I relate the Platinum Card to image-wise, right? It's one of those, that's the image that's given with it. And, it's probably, in my opinion, sometimes we say is, people just want it for a flex. But I actually think it's deeper than just I want a solid metal card for a flex. I think the gold card's probably the one that people, the average person, think is better. Gold, versus silver. You don't necessarily know it's platinum. But I think it's more so the lifestyle that American Express is trying to convey. And I think all of us who play this game a little bit, if you're into travel and miles and stuff, you kind of want to be part of that world, right? Like, travel sucks. we say traveling is fun, but really what we mean is getting to the destination is fun. The actual act of travel is not great. Airports are not well laid out all the time. People don't know what they're doing in the airports, and sometimes it's just planes are uncomfortable. You get the point. You've all been somewhere. This card is always built as something that's going to make travel better, make your life better, your lifestyle better. Their tagline is "Don't live life without it." And I think all of us on some level, we kind of want to be that person, right, who doesn't care about a $700 annual fee card, who can just use one card and get you in everywhere, right? That's definitely a part of it. I think it's more than a flex. And I think American Express knows that. That kind of leads me to the second part, which is their target demographic. That's the image they're trying to portray, sure, but then they also have a target demographic that they're going after. And a lot of times, the old cliches, if you don't like the music on or the commercials on, well, your opinion doesn't matter to the company. And that's kind of it. If these credits and these coupons kind of upset us, well, we're probably not the target demographic anymore. They have a clear target demographic, and we can show that by the companies that they're working with. Now, again, there's a $700 price tag, which is price prohibitive for a lot of people, especially consider that there are a lot of other good options on the market. The Equinox credit, $300 Equinox. Equinox is not everywhere. There are not that many places except for larger cities. We can go on down the list. They definitely have a target demographic, and part of the fee raise, in my opinion, was to get people to go away. Sometimes in business, you don't want to do something for a client, so you charge it, at a ridiculous price, and that gets some people to go away. I think that was the point. They just weren't trying to say that, but they definitely have a target demographic, and unfortunately, a lot of us aren't in that target demographic. Now, we also have to look at their business model. The business model is probably the biggest sticking point here, aside from the profile of the card or the image of the card. I think that we can tell with their business model it works for them. And the reason it works is because they're still having those 100K offers, 125K offers on the Platinum card. It used to be that 100K was like a unicorn and like 60K was the norm. So if you keep running your 100K deal for a long time, I got to imagine it's working for you. So what's the business model? The business model is to partner with all these vendors and then have all these as pass-through costs. So I'm charging you $700. But if you use $200 for Uber, well, you use $200 for Uber, and we largely assume that Uber pays that. Amex doesn't pay for that. It's kind of Uber's cost of acquisition. Amex gets to say, I'm offering you this thing. You wouldn't get it without me. Uber gets access to the customers. There you go. That's why a lot of us don't like how the credits work. We don't want $15 doled out over a month at a time that doesn't roll over. But we've seen the alternative. We've seen Chase and DoorDash do this, where DoorDash said, here's $60 for the year. And what happened? 2 years after it, DoorDash changed it, and now it's $5 a month, because Uber is getting a minimum 12 touch points a year with you. If you use it all, building a habit, sending you notifications, that whole thing, and vice versa. I mean, you can see that on all the credits, right? The digital entertainment ones, it's not widespread like Netflix or Disney Plus, because then they would have to pay that, being Amex, but they can push the cost off on someone else and still pocket almost all of your $700. So now those are kind of my three major points of the card, but I don't think they end up holding up is the problem. And this is just my experience. You may experience different things, and that's fine, because this isn't like a bashing the Platinum card thing. So if I go back through them and I start with the image of the card and what it's supposed to represent, I think that ends up falling short, in my opinion, because the core benefits of the card, the travel benefits, have gone neglected for too long now. Some of it, I don't know that they can do anything about, right? So when I get the card, I wanted the card a lot in 2019. My first Delta Sky Club, I think, was in Miami International Airport. And man, it was so crowded, so hot. There was no food. There was like granola bars. You could have granola bars till your heart was content, but there wasn't like a ton of food or anything. And it wasn't like that luxurious. Now, I don't really know what could have lived up to the hype, right? If we spent all this time like, oh man, lounges are amazing. And again, our reference point is going to be the Up in the Air movie. Well, I don't know. Was it ever going to live up to the hype? I don't know. But again, I've been into sky clubs that aren't super crowded, but then you're like, I mean, yeah, it's nicer than sitting out in the terminal like in LaGuardia or something. I was in that sky club. It's nicer than sitting out in the terminal. Granted, they have more of them, so it helps, but I don't know, it wasn't that amazing. there's another part of us that that, hey, if you go there, you got to hit the food and drink and all that to get your money's worth, but how do you value it, that whole thing. So I just don't end up thinking that kind of lives up to it. Hotel status is the same way. Weirdly enough, one of the things that bothers me a lot about this card is that they give you 5x back on hotels, but you have to book through Amex Travel. But if you go through a travel portal, hotels don't always like to honor your status because you went through a travel portal, not directly, yet they offer you status on the card. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Now, the other one, again, the target demographic. On some level, I am in the target demographic. Some of the Amex offers, some of the vendors, it does make sense. I am interested in them. I do travel. I do have a little bit of money, probably, what they're going for. But at the same time, the value piece isn't there because, again, I think they've left their cards neglected for so long. Now, with that being said, I think the business model, again, it's just not worth complaining about. But for me, a lot of this stuff ends up being hard to use. And, to the point where I get so tired of jumping through hoops that, at the end of the month, I'm trying to I got to use this Uber credit. Last year when I forgot that they gave you $35 in December, I was very annoyed that I had to go to Uber Eats twice. Kind of a headache. And that right there just got me to the point where, it's too much. Paying them $700 was just, a bridge too far. They actually offered me a retention offer of $150 statement credit, which would have made it the old $550 price, but it was just too much. For what? I don't personally see the value. I see the card as being now profitable for American Express. And it's likely because the gold card we assume is a loss leader because they give so many points out to the top categories people spend in, which is restaurants and grocery stores. So I think they had to make their money up somewhere. But, I just, I couldn't give him $700. Couldn't give him $550. I don't think it's worth it. Which transitions us to the last part of this video, which is what are your other options? Well, that right there, you got to remember, even if you like the Platinum card, there's still multiple variants of it. The Business Platinum, the Morgan Stanley, and the Charles Schwab are all basically the same card, except you can get multiple sign-up bonuses, one for each of them. So I'm not even saying I won't have another Platinum card. I'll probably work my way through those other ones, as should you. It just doesn't make sense to stick to one or leave money on the table. Even if you don't like the card, you just don't have to keep it in year number 2. Now, I know there are some of you out there who like the Platinum card and love it, and I'm not trying to bash you. If you like the card, I think you should use it. And in fact, if you're curious about the card, I think you should try it because that's what sign-up bonuses are for, right? It's, to get you in. You get outsized value in year number 1. It almost always makes sense. And you can try it for a year, and if you don't like it, you can move on, or you can move to another one of the Platinum cards and keep getting bonuses. But do not talk about all that other stuff. Do not talk about the perceived image of it that they work so hard to portray. Do not talk about the target demographic and really figuring out if you're in it or not. Not talk about the business model. Would not be telling the full story of the Platinum card. That's what I don't think gets talked about in detail enough, in my opinion. The business model's not changing. We highlighted why. The image is definitely not changing. The target demographic is getting more focused, if anything. So just, really make sure it's for you, because my opinion, and I will close this on an opinion, is it's not a good card. It's not a good card for the majority of people, but it's also not supposed to be a good card for the majority of people. That's kind of how you give, perceived exclusivity, but still you want to make money, so it's not as exclusive as it may seem. They'll still approve people. Again, the real determination is, how much purchase power you have with the card. But anyways, that's kind of where I would leave it at. Just because everyone on the internet seems to like something doesn't mean you have to like it, and vice versa. Just because I don't like it doesn't mean you can't like it, right? That's kind of where I'm at with it. That's why I canceled it. I thought about keeping it because I talk about it all the time. If you go back through last year's videos, the majority of them are, we probably have at least 20% of the videos from last year about the Platinum card. But I just wasn't worth $700. Again, I'll probably get other versions to get those sign-up bonuses, but for me, couldn't do it. It was a hard decision, and that's everything that I thought about as I led up to canceling it, even getting offered a retention offer. So I've talked for an incredibly long time. I want to turn it over to you guys. I want to get your thoughts on the Platinum card and American Express as a whole. Was this a way over psychoanalyzing it? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know all of it down below. But anyways, guys, if you like this one, drop me a thumbs up down below. If you find it particularly interesting, consider subscribing to the channel. Again, posting content just like this every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Of course, right back here every Sunday with all the news you can use in the week that was in credit and finance. Again, my question for you, let me know what you feel about the Platinum Card, my decision, the conversation we've had here. I've kind of styled this as an open letter, if you will, to Platinum Card holders, so I'd love to get your thoughts on that. But anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this one. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you in the next one.